The funk is the groove.
Never will quit me.
We be
funky.
Oh yeah, the funk is the mood.
Funk is with me. Never will quit me. We be funky.
The funk is like a holiday.
Funk is with me. Never will quit me.
That's what I say, you see. The funk is the thing that moves everything inside you. It makes you groove. It's the thing that brings the happiness from inside. The thing that makes you feel like life is a slide. Everything you thought you knew in the world is contained in the funk in a swirl, because you got to try to funk it and move it all around. The funk is the city and you are the town. Funk it, baby, and let us know, because the funk is inside of you and make you grow. You see, grab yourself inside and grow, because the funk is inside and makes you know. Because I'm so glad that funk is with me, and that funkin'. So glad that funk is with me, never will quit me, cause we be funkin'. Because the love inside is the funk that rides the universe. It makes everything right, and everything you think that you see when you don't. Well, I'm telling you, the funk, it just won't let you down. Not down the way you think you see, because inside of the funk is you and me, and everything you thought that was going to be away. Well, I'm trying to tell you, you can just funk the bad away. The funk inside is what makes you grow. It's the thing that you know that you got to know. And every time you think that you have the feeling down, the funk comes and lifts you up off the ground. The funk is the thing that makes you feel alive. It's the thing that makes you take to the skies, and everything you thought you ever knew about life. I'm trying to tell you, funk gets rid of the strife, and you got to try to know that you run in and hide, because you can't hide from what's inside. The funk is funky, and it's funky in you, and the funk is all the things that is just like the glue that lifts us up and makes us all feel grand. The funk is the woman, the funk is the man, the child, the people, the universe. Come on and join me in this verse, because your funk is making you happy, yeah. The funk will take you there, The funk will make you happy, yeah. The funk will take you there, yeah. The funk will make you happy, yeah. The funk will take you there, oh yeah. The funk will make you happy, yeah. The funk will take you there. Everybody say,
funky with me, never will quit me, cause we be funky. We be funky with me, never will quit me. We be funky. We be funky, never will quit me. We be funky. We be funky, never will quit me. We be funky. So we be funky, never will quit me. We be funky. So we be funky, never will quit me. Always be funky. We be so glad that funk is with me. Never will quit me, cause we be funky. So glad that funk is with me. We be funky. Always be funky. So glad that funk is with me.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to So Please Understand. I'm Holly Noon, the host. And if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button below, like and comment on this video. And today I have a very special guest. I have Glenn Towery here, and he is an artist, writer, filmmaker, and Vietnam combat veteran. So hi, Glenn, welcome.
Welcome, ma'am. How you doing today?
Doing great. And you know, it was really interesting how we came to be. Someone was like, hey, you should do something on funk, Holly. And I was like, funk music? They're like, yeah. And I know some people. And yeah, my mentor, knew some people and connected me with you. And so, yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself, you know?
Okay, well, I'm a filmmaker and a writer and a performer and a veteran, as you described me very aptly. But I love funk music. And I've written several scripts. But the big script that I'm pushing right now is called STARFUNK and the ASTRAL Pioneers. It's a great film. It's got the funk culture involved, the whole mothership connection. The only thing is, I decided that I didn't want to do anything for planet Earth. I went outside of planet Earth to create this to a whole nother planet with a whole nother funky culture. In order to do that, and sometimes as a writer, what I do is I take on other personas. So I kind of created this persona for myself, Funk Master G.
Funk Master G. Okay, I like it.
that got my creative funk going, right? My creative funk music juices are flowing and story flowing. So a lot of funk people, they discount writing funk. You know, most people know about music funk, but they don't know that you can have writing funk. You can have funk in many, many different kind of things, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
So my funk, though, is writing funk, but I do music funk too.
So what books have you written that, you know, have infused this, you know, this funk?
Well, the most important book that I wrote is the book for this screenplay, STARFUNK and the Astral Pioneers. It is a story unlike anything that you will ever see or you can imagine ever seeing in a theater. I mean, it's a story about a culture that is not of this planet, but that is funky. And it's the same kind of funk that we have here, but the funk that we're talking about, and now I'm about to talk to you through Funk Master G a little bit, is what funk really is about. You know, people think that funk is really all about the music, but funk is about more than just the music. Funk is about the spirit and the soul of the person from which the music emanates.
Gotcha.
That is why funk, when it touches you, it makes you want to move, it makes you want to dance, it makes you want to fully explore life and everything around you because it has that essence in it. And so in doing this film, I wanted to bring what funk was really about to me. Because back in the day, I was a card-carrying funketeer right here on the planet Earth.
Gotcha.
You know, so I would go and like wherever the funk was, you would find me. And somehow this whole idea, many, many years ago, the idea for the screenplay came to me. It hit me, it took hold of me, and I was like, I have to write this.
Right.
It has to be funky. I have to spread the word of the funk. And so this screenplay was created. And I'm going to tell you, you will learn so much about the funk culture here on Earth, even by seeing this film, which takes place on Funk Aura, a planet galaxies, light years from this planet, but to whom I have a special connection because, you know, they kind of talk through me. That's how the script got created. And but I want to share with you that culture. I want to share with Earth that culture because the cultures are so very similar.
Right.
And funk is the same wherever you go in this universe. So here we go. STARFUNK and the Astral Pioneers. I want you to go to my website, which is www.starfunkmovie.com. Learn more about the legacy of funk, the legend of funk, as it comes from Funk Aura, and the power of funk, because that's what has not appeared here on planet Earth yet, the way they do it in Funk Aura. Funk Aura, the funk powers everything.
So what makes funk culture unique? Like what are some influences? Like why, like you said, you're like a funk writer, but why do we only like hear, say on Earth, why are we so familiar with funk music? What makes it so unique in your opinion?
You know, funk music, first, I think a lot of people will disagree when I say this, but the whole funk mythology and funk culture really started with a young man on this planet by the name, they called him Sun Ra. A lot of people ascribe funk, on the one funk, to James Brown, which is true. But before James Brown was Sun Ra, and Sun Ra introduced the concept of music with power, but he played primarily like jazz, a kind of a jazzy influence. Funk music is a combination, a fusion of jazz, a fusion of gospel, a fusion of spirit, a fusion of R&B. And a lot of people don't know this who are into hip hop music, but most of the music you listen to from hip hop was sampled from funk. Yes, it was. Okay. And you can ask any of your present day hip hop superstars, they will tell you that.
Right.
So the thing about funk, though, is this music deserves to have a motion picture made about it. It deserves to be memorialized.
Mm-hmm.
The great funk stars of the past, we're talking people like George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, we're talking Slade,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking just so many, George Duke, we're talking so many great artists. They deserve to have a film that memorializes their work and the culture that
Right.
they created. And I'm going to tell you something. You'll never find more fun on stage or anywhere in life when you go to see a funk concert, because it's fun. You know, you can't have fun without funk.
I got you. I see what you did. I got you.
Hey.
I see what you did there. I got you.
Can't have it.
That's the main part of funk, right?
That is the main part of funk, is the fun.
Right. No, I love it. So how did you get into funk music? Like, why is it this big part of your life?
As a writer?
Yeah, as a writer. As a writer, and then obviously that led you to kind of create this movie. Like, how did you get into it?
Well, I had a friend, he's no longer with us. His name is Jimmy Cromartie, and I'm going to really dedicate portions. He'll have a dedication in this movie. And he and I both, we love funk music. We love writing. I had some problems when I came out of the military, and he helped me a lot. He wasn't a military guy, but at that time, when I first came out from Vietnam, I'm a Vietnam combat veteran, we didn't know about PTSD.
Gotcha.
And I had nothing to channel my energy, but I had all this stuff going on that I did not understand what it was. I just knew that it was happening.
Right.
And so focusing on writing brought me into a more peaceful realm. It gave me a focus on something else. And in a way, in that sense, that's when I began to understand how important art is to wellness in a person. Because by dealing with this story that I wrote, and by concentrating my efforts there, I was able to mitigate a lot of my illness through channeling it into something else, something that was artistic. And I want to say to people out there, not just veterans, that art is a great way for you to find peace and for you to find wellness by channeling it through whatever you're doing. So for me, it started with PTSD that I did not even know that I had.
Right.
And that helped me. But then I'm a very imaginative fella. And the more that I began to write, I began to understand the nuances of my own imagination and the depths of where I could go. And this story has won several awards because you won't find another story quite like STARFUNK and the Astral Pioneers. There are actually things in this story that no one has ever seen in a motion picture. And I had a professor tell me, he said, you have done something that I have never seen. You have created a story that's got some stuff, some things in it that as many 100 years, more than 100 years of motion pictures have never been seen. No one's ever thought of this particular idea this way. So yeah. And the other thing is, I love entertaining. Ever since I was a kid, a child, my brother and I, we used to, if people come over to visit, we go in the bedroom and say, all right, we make up a dance, we get some music, we come out, and then they're like, oh, here they come again.
Yeah.
And we would dance and sing and do our little performance and wait for the applause. And then the next time somebody come over, we try it again. So I've been doing this really all my life. My brother Stone Man is a great musician, and you're going to hear some of his music in this film. He is funky, oh my goodness. But at the same time, and this is important, something happened to funk why it began to kind of disappear. It never disappeared, but the originality of it, and a lot of it has to do with musicianship. They began taking the musicianship, music out of schools. And I think that had a big effect on funk because people started sampling, which I'm not saying sampling is bad, but
Right.
you know, when you create something from your spirit, it's imbued with that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And music, we tend to think of music as bars, beats, and tones. But I tell you, all right, in my way of writing, and you'll discover a little bit in this script, music is just the return of mathematics on a higher form. It comes back as beats, measures, tones, and rhythm. Okay. It's infinite. And that's the way when you go so far in numbers that you can't count no more, comes back as funk, baby.
Yes. Yeah. No, so going back to your art, like actually you sent me some pieces, and so I want to share them in this interview. Let me pull it up here.
Oh.
Yeah, I can share it actually.
Oh, look at that. The modern stuff happening here.
Yes, modern stuff.
Painter. One of the things that I do is I'm somewhat of a historian, and Black history is very, very popular with me, and Black military history, especially because African Americans have never been given their due credit for a lot of it.
Right. Absolutely. So this is a Sergeant Henry Johnson, it looks like, photo.
Sergeant Henry Johnson was also known as Black Death. He was in the 369th Battalion, Harlem Hellfighters. So this young man right here was very famous because he served in a segregated unit during World War I, Harlem Hellfighters. And the Harlem Hellfighters served on the front line longer than any regiment, but the United States military would not let them fight in the American uniform. So they had to wear a French uniform in order to fight. And when the French saw them fight, the French said, "We want them." And so that's how they got started. Sergeant Henry Johnson rebuffed an attack by the Germans, and 24 Germans attacked, and he and two of his cohorts were together, and both of them were wounded in the beginning of the attack. And Sergeant Henry Johnson fended off all 24 Germans. Had they gotten down into that line where they were, where they were dug out, they would have been able to go down the line, killing soldiers all the way down. But because of his bravery and his fighting spirit, he was able to save many, many lives. And it took him 97 years. That painting you saw is called 97 years till the Medal of Honor and the Purple Heart. He was finally awarded it by President Barack Obama.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's such a
There he is right there. Sergeant Henry Johnson, otherwise known as Black Death. He sustained a terrible wound during that. And he actually, when he returned home, you can see he died a pauper. But they looked for his body a long time and they couldn't find it. And then they discovered that he had actually been buried at Arlington Cemetery in the segregated section of that cemetery.
Okay.
So it's Black warriors like this whose stories we never hear about. And I go out of my way to try to memorialize them. So this painting is taken from a famous civil rights photo, black and white photo, but my rendition of it is a little different. Most of the people I tried to paint their likenesses, including the dogs, is called The Black Boy and the American Terrorists. The American terrorists are the police and the dogs.
Right.
The black boy, if you notice in this painting, is the only one that's really a true American. He's painted in red, white, and blue. And because protest and the right to protest is the principles upon which this country was founded.
Absolutely.
All the way from the first black man who died who was black in the American Revolution, Crispus Attucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me show up the last photo that you had. Let's see.
Yeah, this was one of my most intense works. This painting here is the 369th Battalion, Harlem Hellfighters. In this painting, you see each one of them has a medal. That medal is the highest awarded medal for bravery issued by the French Army. This battalion, the Harlem Hellfighters, they weren't initially, they called themselves the Harlem Rattlers. Their symbol is a rattlesnake getting ready to strike. It was the German enemy that named them Hellfighters. And they named them the Hellfighters for a reason. So these men wanted to prove their bravery, and they wanted to prove that they belonged in America. And they did it. And we won't talk about the Red Summer. That's a whole nother thing, but this painting was taken from a photo of these men after they received these awards for bravery.
Okay, perfect. I'll stop sharing.
And if you like to, if people would like to see more of my art, I have a website. They can look up Art of Time, because all of one thing you don't know about me is, and you couldn't tell by looking at this, but all of my art are clocks. I turn them into clocks. So if you look very closely at all of my art, you see a clock hand, and those clocks really work. They keep time. When they stop keeping time, I get rid of them and put in one that does. So
I like it. So yeah, I know.
You can visit my website. You can look up Art of Time in conjunction with my name, Glenn Towery, or you can visit glenntowery.squarespace.com.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. And I can drop that information below in the video, along with all the videos, all the links to find STARFUNK and the Astral Pioneers. So what is the current status of the movie at this point?
Okay, so we just got through doing a fundraiser, a Kickstarter fundraiser. We didn't make our goal, but we learned a lot from that. One thing that I learned from that is that people really want to see this movie. We did it at a difficult time coming out of the pandemic, but I thought it was a good time to do it because we needed an uplift and we needed something, something to look forward to. And so I wanted to say to people, look forward to this movie, because when I make up my mind generally to do something, I get it done. As a filmmaker, I graduated from Columbia College Hollywood, and I was the first African-American valedictorian of my school. I'm an award-winning filmmaker. These are some of my awards. And also I am an award-winning screenplay writer. Just won Best Screenplay at the prestigious Film Festival in April of 2020. And I've been finalist for this screenplay and several others. This film is important to us and to the world as a culture. We have given so much as a culture to the world. And funk music, do you know there has never been a film done on funk, a feature film done on funk. Well, I'm working to make sure that STARFUNK and the Astral Pioneers becomes the very first. And I, my goal is not only to entertain people in theaters, but to reach people in a way that lets them know that there's something more in this universe than just us. We are
Right.
not alone. And a lot of those folks out there are funky, okay? And
I
this
love
film
that.
will prove it.
Okay. And some music videos, which I'm going to play at the end of this interview, you sent me, are those do those videos that you sent me and that I'll play at the end, do those go along with the movie?
Yes, they all go along with the movie.
Perfect.
Pretty
Okay.
sure I'm trying to remember what I sent you, but yeah, I think all of those go along with the movie. But if you want to see more videos, and I've got a lot of them, again, go to www.starfunkmovie.com and you will see them there. And also, you can donate to us there.
Okay.
And also, you can go to our store and buy some funky paraphernalia.
Listen, okay, you guys have everything on your website. That's great. And so, what is the future plans for the movie? Like, do you have an estimated date you'd like to release it? What are kind of where are we in the process?
Well, right now I'm in talks with. I had really wanted to be able to raise my own money and produce it, but I'm in talk with a pretty prominent film company and producer. They're showing some interest in working with us to get this project made. I'm not at liberty to reveal who they are, but we are working and we are in conversation. And I have a feeling though that by 2023 is my goal that we can release this film. Yeah. And I want to do it as the studio would take and spend $100 million on a movie like this, and I would not recognize my screenplay at the end of the final production. So I want to try to maintain as much control as I can and make sure that this story is told in a way that clearly represents what I created. And so if we can work out all those bugaboos, this baby will be done. And I think that what's there on the printed page will go well on the screen.
Oh, beautiful. That's great. So what would you want people to take away from watching this interview about you, about funk, about the movie? What would you want people to take away?
I want people to take away the fact that all history is important. Mm-hmm. And it deserves its day in the sun. And funk music deserves its day in the sun. And we need to celebrate artists like I mentioned before, like Bootsy Collins and George Clinton and Slave and so many other funk groups, Rick James and so many funk groups that the Brides of Funkenstein, so many funk groups that were out there. We need to be able to memorialize them. We need to be able to remember them, and we need to be able to celebrate what they created and fostered, and that is funk. So for me, you can look at me as both a writer, a director, and a preserver of cultural history.
Love it. Love it. And I looked back and the songs that you sent me were New Funk Army and Glad the Funk is With Me. So I'm going to put those at the end of this video so for people to watch and kind of take us out. And where can people find you? Do you have social media, or everyone just needs to go to the website and that's where they find everything?
No, I do have a social media. They can contact me also on Facebook. Just look for my name, Glenn Towery, there. And also there's a Facebook page there, STARFUNK and the Astral Pioneers. And on Instagram, it's at STARFUNK7.
Okay.
And I can't remember the Twitter, but I'm on Twitter.
Okay.
And and I just want to say thank you, Holly. Thank you for for having me on the show. Thank you for recognizing the importance of what I'm trying to do, because a lot of times, a lot of people don't get it, but I can see that you do. And
yeah, absolutely. I definitely like, so the importance of So Please Understand is to kind of commemorate, and also kind of, I look at it like you said, memorialize like these kind of stories and this history and culture. And particularly like important to me is telling stories that are for Black culture, and really sometimes, we don't always get our day in the sun. And so it's really important that for the next generation, they can find these stories somewhere and know that, hey, progress is being made, representation matters, and, it's out there. So it's definitely
And funk is multicultural. Let me tell you, it sprung from our African-American people,
Right.
but if you go and search online, they're making funk in Japan, they're making it in China, they're making funk in Spain, France, England. Funk is everywhere. But I'm just talking about where it's at on other planets right now.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. No, it's actually interesting. I don't know if, I know you mentioned you had some grandchildren or a grandchild, but Trolls World Tour had funk trolls. And I thought that was interesting because I was like, funk trolls. And it was George Clinton and Mary J. Blige. They were the part of the funk trolls. But I thought that was, my kids are like, funk? What is funk? They're so little, but it was.
They didn't know what it was.
Yeah, they didn't know what it was. I mean, they had rock trolls and pop trolls and country trolls. And then it was like, funk, so.
They were like, do they stink?
Right? What is this funk?
No, they put the stank on it.
No, but it's funny because you kind of, like you said, you embody funk, and that was kind of in essence what they were kind of trying to explain with the trolls, like, hey, empowerment, and it's fun, and have a good time. And it was it was actually really good that they tried to introduce it to a younger generation. And so I'm happy that you're making this movie. So it's something that we can, look back on. And like you said, commemorates funk.
I had somebody ask me one day, they said, what would be the ultimate effect of this movie? And I told them, I said, the ultimate for me would be at the end of this film to have people standing up in the theater and partying like they just don't care.
Yeah.
And, because they've been so affected by what they've seen, what they felt, and what they've heard.
Right. Absolutely. No, that sounds like that would be like a fun movie premiere.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun because
that would be a fun movie.
Dress up funky, baby.
Yeah.
Costumes will be in effect. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Costumes, music, the movie. I think that will be a very great time, and I don't think I would want to miss it. And I'm sure there'll be some great.
I will definitely make sure that you get there, Holly. Okay, one way or another.
Well, Glenn, thank you for being a guest on my show. I really appreciate it. And again, I'll drop all your links below so people can go find and support your film that you're making, STARFUNK and the Astral Pioneers. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. See you in the movies.
Bye.
Bring your funky attitude. Funk. Bring your funky attitude. Funk. Bring your funky attitude. Funk. Bring your funky attitude.
We are the Funk Army, come to save the day. Nothing you can do now, better kneel down and pray. We are the Funk Army, standing up with pride, playing out for music from which you cannot hide. Look out, we're coming fast, we've come to play. Look out, we're coming fast, we've come to stay. Look out, we're coming fast, we've come to play. Look out, we're coming fast, we've come to slay. We are the Funk Army, let's get out our way. Weapons are our music, and the funk we play. We are the Funk Army, even at better, because we play for goodness in a funky groove. Look out, we're coming fast, we've come to play. Look out, we're coming fast, we've come to slay. Look out.
we're coming fast. We've come to play. Look out, we're coming fast. We've come to stay. Moving high above. Mixing funk with love. Mixing funk with love. We are moving high above. With the funk army, that's no funk. We sing, we play, we bring the funk. Reason that funk's us up so high. Live up planet, super fly. Funk's on the upbeat, funk's so smooth. Funk moves mountains, makes things move. A planet, sun, galaxy there. Funk can move anything, anywhere. Funk's God made, but played by man. A vibe created for a righteous stand. Stand, demand, we play, play. Funk is eat, we play and slay. We're the funk army, that's no funk. Sing, play, bring the funk. We're the funk army, evil can't hide from the funk we are inside. On a mission for the universe, yeah, a funky groove that takes us there. Yes, it does. We put faith in our vibrations first, which gives us power when we can. When we can, yeah, change the vibrations. Cannot stop for power, no holding back too long. Cannot run or hide from the funk we come to play. We are the funk army, and we have come to slay. Some things try to teach you, many things try to hide. Funk can truly reach you from deep down inside. We are the funk army, don't worry about a thing. We're all about the spirit, don't care about the bling.
We don't bow down to nothing evil. We will funk and funk and funk until we blow that evil away.
Never can change the rhythm coming from a song. Never can change the power of the focus back to love. Evil can't run or hide from the funk we come to play. We are the funk army, and we have come to slay. Slaying the forces of evil, knocking you proud. We are the funk army, we need to get on down. Can't change the vibration, spinning from our song. Can't stop the funk power, no holding back no law. Look out, we're coming fast, we come to play. Look out, we're coming fast, we come to slay. Look out, we're coming fast, we come to play. Look out, we're coming fast, we come to slay. We are the funk army. We are the funk army. Funk. We are the funk army. Funk. Funk. We bring the funk.